So Luke and I had been married for about 8 years. And in 2022, a tornado occurred inside of our house, and everything just kind of fell apart. We went from growing together, being in church together like our whole lives, to one day just kind of giving up on each other and giving up on our marriage and giving up on everything we built. And yeah, in 2022, we filed for divorce. We were ready to call it quits. We lived in separate homes. We had separate lives, alternated weeks with our kids, and ultimately truly started to hate each other as individuals. We became completely different people, and the enemy really took kind of a hold of our home.
It was a tough time in my life. I mean, in our family. I think that I had broken a promise in my own self because I said I didn't want to ever put my family through that, and it happened. And so I think that there was a reason for it because being on the other side of it now, we see exactly where God took us through and where He wanted us to be now.
We completely kind of gave up. We were like, God's letting this happen in our marriage when we've been nothing but faithful. We became, at least I became very angry towards God. I started looking for routes to just be numb to it all, seeing my family fall apart, seeing my family be separate. He was having family vacations without me and all these things. And I remember kind of sitting in our home that we had just bought. It was like a new build. It was like our dream house. And feeling like, wow, we worked so hard on all of these things, all for what? Like nothing else matters except for that union that God had established. And we recognized that we let the enemy kind of there was clearly a crack, right? And we let the enemy kind of take a stronghold into our home, into our family, into our marriage. We completely kind of fell apart. We said things that were hurtful. We sold our family home. We were at the table to finalize our divorce in July of 2023. So we were doing the court dates. We were ending what God had united. So definitely was the darkest season as we became kind of the worst versions of ourselves.
Yeah, I focused on making sure that my family had the best, and I see that now that didn't matter for God. What mattered to Him was what we had in our hearts and what we were doing for Him. And at that point, I think we could both agree that our spiritual lives took a hit, our ministries took a hit, and at, it was at that moment where God said, "It doesn't matter everything you did." It was God was taking us through something and taking us out of it into something beyond what we would ever expect in our own life and marriage.
God started working on us as individuals. We started coming to Anthem together on the Friday night light services because we were going to separate churches. We were living separate lives. And little by little, as we started kind of seeking God together, we saw that resurrection happening in us as individuals. And then we saw kind of the fruits in our marriage and in our home and in our kids' lives. So it's kind of like a domino effect, right? Like the resurrection happened with us as individuals before our marriage fully kind of
Yeah,
came back to life.
I think just surrendering everything, forgetting about the blame, forgetting about what happened, truly just giving it to God. That's where we seen the resurrection. As easy as it may sound, it wasn't easy going through it. But having that mentality and focus, like God, we don't, like I would tell her, I don't want to talk about the past. Let's just start something from scratch.
Yeah.
And I think when we started thinking that way, and we started seeking God in a different way, because we've been in church all our life, so going through this, it did bring a fresh worship to our life, a fresh anointing. Our spiritual eyes and our family just took a whole nother turn for the better. I mean, we see it in our kids, in our family, in our relationship. So I think it's just truly just surrendering it and letting go of the past and not holding that against each other. As hard as that is, I mean, we really, I mean, it's a team, right? So I feel like, because we both wanted our family and our marriage, we chose to do that, and God honored that, and God met us there where we were being, transparent.
It's definitely a decision to kind of die to self every day. Even as a married couple, we have to choose to die to self every day in order for that resurrection to really happen, right? We have to die to the anger that came with our past, that came with our decisions. We have to die to, the resentment, and just kind of take on God's promises that He has within our home. We had 2 takes in our marriage. We tried to get back together in September of 2022, and I was living in a little townhouse. He kind of came and lived with me for a little bit and the boys, and then it didn't. We didn't have the right. It was like God was still not kind of in the mix. We were still like, all right, we're back together, but it's probably gonna fall apart. So like there was a lot of, we're still holding on. We had a lot of people in our life that we had to kind of cut out in order for it to work, right? And then in probably January of 23 is when we started doing the Friday nights, going to services together. And in May, we were like, we're going to keep it hush hush. We're not telling our family. We was like, it's just me, you, God, and the boys. And we're going to rebuild everything that we definitely demolished our whole world. So in May of 2023, we were like, all gas, let's work on our home. We started coming to Anthem more frequently. And in July, when we were supposed to finalize our divorce, is when Luke kind of stopped going to his old church, fully came over to Anthem, and we really were all in, like, God, do your thing. So in October, we bought our home, our first home in Luke and Amanda 2.0. And we've truly seen God in the mix. It's been an incredible journey for both our children and our marriage. We've seen each other in different lights. We understand each other so much more. And we know that God is in the mix. I feel like God really allowed us to see that the enemy has a strategy, right? Like, he goes for the man of the house because the man of the house is fundamentally the leader of the home. And then he goes in order, right? Because everything that happened with us impacted our home directly. So we were able to kind of identify, even leading up to this video, we felt the attacks of the enemy, because this is the first time that we speak on it together. And we both were like, like, we could tell that the devil doesn't want people to know what God can truly do, what God can do suddenly. So just as quickly as the enemy tore it down, God built it 2 times as better, right? So our marriage is definitely a testimony of that.
I truly believe what helped us was forgiving one another, not holding grudges or anything over each other's head, and truly giving it to God. Let it die at His feet and look at the future and pray about your marriage, pray over your family, your home. And I think just praying with authority on what you want for your family is huge. I think for me, in this whole season, I feel like the Lord has really given me a vision of what I need to do for my family and how to protect them and how to keep them covered. Something that definitely I wasn't doing in the beginning, and something I take full responsibility in as a father and as our leader of our home. So now I do truly try to pray over my kids, pray for my family, keep my family covered at all times, because the devil tries to use anything and everything. And so I think that just staying focused on exactly what you want God to do, God's going to meet you exactly where you want Him to meet you. There's nothing He cannot do for anyone in this world. So,
Yeah. You're never too far gone. That's what I would tell anybody. Your marriage is never too far gone. There is hope. And if you hang on to God's promises and you truly allow Him to take all the negative feelings, because there was a lot of them, He's able to wipe that slate super clean. And it's really important to trust God. Trust Him past how you feel. Trust Him past what you see right now, and have faith in the supernatural power that's working, that's in each of us, right? It didn't just stop at the cross, at the tomb, right? It happened with our marriage too.